You know someone like this. A grandparent maybe, or a parent who is barely 60. Their body still moves fine. Their heart is strong. Their hands are steady. But they walk into a room and forget why. They tell you the same story twice in one afternoon. And here is what almost nobody tells you. Your memory does not fade on the same clock as your body. It can slip years, sometimes decades, before the rest of you shows any sign of aging at all. That gap is the real mystery. Why would one part of you decline so much faster than everything else? Start with the hippocampus. It is the small, curled structure deep in your brain that files new memories away. Think of it as a librarian, constantly sorting fresh experiences onto shelves. But this librarian is fragile. Stress hormones like cortisol wear it down. Poor sleep starves it of the deep repair cycles it needs. And here's the strange part. Neuroscientist Sandrine Thérèse has spent years researching a striking possibility that your hippocampus may keep growing new neurons throughout adulthood, a process called neurogenesis. It remains a debated frontier, with some studies finding strong evidence for it and others finding very little. Still, the question alone reshapes how you think about memory. So why does it slip anyway? Because renewal is not the same as protection. New neurons need the right conditions to survive, and modern life rarely gives them that. Chronic stress floods the hippocampus with signals that suppress this growth. Sitting for hours reduces blood flow to the exact regions that need it most. Even mild, repeated sleep loss disrupts the nightly process where your brain moves memories from short-term storage into something more permanent. You lose ground quietly. No pain, no symptoms, just small gaps that widen over time, one missed name at a time. Now consider something researchers call cognitive reserve. Neuropsychologist Yakov Stern spent years studying why two brains with identical amounts of physical damage can produce wildly different outcomes. One person forgets constantly. Another stays sharp well into their 80s. The difference was not the damage itself. It was the brain's built-up capacity to reroute around it, a reserve shaped by education, curiosity, and how often the mind is actively challenged. Your brain, it turns out, can hide its own decline behind decades of accumulated resilience. Until it can't. And when that reserve finally runs dry, the drop can feel sudden, even though the erosion began years earlier. This is where the famous Nun Study, led by epidemiologist David Snowden, becomes almost unsettling. Snowden examined the brains of elderly nuns after death and compared them to the cognitive tests they had taken while alive. Some had brains riddled with the physical markers of severe Alzheimer's disease, and yet, while living, they had shown no symptoms at all. Their minds had compensated so well that the disease was invisible from the outside. Doesn't that change how you think about forgetting? It is not always a straight line from damage to symptom. Sometimes your brain is fighting a war you never see, winning quietly for years before it finally loses ground. But here is the twist that reframes everything. Your body, in most ways, ages on a fairly predictable schedule. Skin loses elasticity gradually, bones lose density gradually, muscles weaken gradually. Memory does not follow that same gentle curve. It can hold steady for years, propped up by reserve and compensation, and then drop suddenly once that hidden capacity runs out. You are not aging evenly. You are aging in reserves and cliffs, and you rarely know which one you are standing on until the ground actually shifts beneath you. Think about your own days for a moment. The nights you skipped real sleep, the years you stopped learning anything new, the stress you carried without noticing it. None of that shows up on your skin. None of it slows your heartbeat, but your hippocampus is counting every one of those choices, quietly, without complaint, until one ordinary afternoon when a name you should know simply refuses to arrive. So the next time you watch someone you love forget something small, remember this. Their body has not betrayed them. Their brain has simply run out of the reserve it spent a lifetime building. And somewhere inside you, right now, that same quiet accounting is already underway. Your body is not just growing older, it is deciding, moment by moment, how much of you gets to be remembered.